Hey, it's Cynthia, and I'm not a licensed therapist, but I am a licensed real estate agent. And today I have a tip for buyers here on real estate therapy. A lot of people will ask, how can I get a deal? How can I be sure that I'm getting a deal? And honestly, they're harder to come by these days. Um, you have to really be scouring the market, and you definitely need to have a good agent working for you. But I can tell you that one way to find a deal is to pay attention to the online presentation of property. And if you see something that's listed for sale and it is vacant, or if it's unstaged, as in the owners are still living in it, or if there are no photos being offered, you should run right out immediately and see that house or condo. If you don't have photos, then that's probably a sign that the seller and the agent representing them are not exactly on top of their game in terms of how they're showing the house. By the same token, um, if effort hasn't been made to stage the house, if it's been vacated, or to pretty it up for pictures, that's also a sign that the listing agent and the seller are perhaps not on top of their game. It's really fun to look at real estate online. A lot of people love just looking at pictures of pretty properties. That's a favorite pastime. But if you're a buyer, you want to try and not indulge in that habit for entertainment purposes. Like, in other words, if you see a particularly beautiful presentation online, that doesn't mean that it's a particularly great house. It just means that they did a good job presenting it. So you must be mindful of that potential distinction when you're going to see places. It'll help to have a good, trusted agent representing you, because ostensibly they would have seen a lot of other properties and they can point out to you um, what you might be missing. Often I've had clients who walked in to see a place and were understandably razzle dazzled by the staging, the fresh flowers, the way that they used color to to entice you and give you a feeling of life and happiness. But then if you look a little closer, you might see that, the windows aren't in great shape, or they just slapped a coat of paint on the kitchen cabinets, or um, any number of things. One of my favorites is when you see a quote exercise room that is really just some unfinished basement space, and they've put in new carpet. Maybe they've put a flat screen TV up on the wall. There's like a water cooler and a weight bench and a yoga mat and a physio ball and a bunch of free weights, which are saying, hey, here's a home gym. But in reality, that's nobody's going to work out down there. Nobody's even going to go down there because it's cold and it's dank and it's dark. But it can be presented as if that's actually a usable room. What happens is, if there aren't great photos to lure people in, at first pass, a lot of buyers are going to ignore that property and they're going to say, there must be something wrong with the place because they haven't shown any photos. So that's a real advantage for the buyer who is willing to go see it in person, because already some of the competition has been eliminated. By the same token, if somebody's living in the house and the photos aren't great, if it doesn't look like a spread in a magazine, um, go see it, because the way you are going to live in the house will be entirely different from the way that the present owners are living in the house. It's fun and entertaining to enjoy the seductive qualities of good photography and videography to appreciate the work that went into staging and designing a property. But that doesn't make for a good buy. I, I think that's something to keep in mind. It's the rare person who can actually see through the staging and understand what they're really looking at. By the same token, it's the rare person who can see something that's vacant and really understand what the property has to offer. Um, I've been doing this for 35 years and I'm still swayed by presentation. I There's nothing more fun than going to see or showing clients a really beautiful home that's been all gussied up um, and uh, calibrated to entice you and delight you. But if you're looking for a good deal, you want to lean into the ones that are more plain, like the wallflowers, let's say. You want to check those listings out, the ones that look a little tired, the ones that are a little tired because they've been on the market for a while, the ones where the listing agent couldn't be bothered to get some good photos done or even slap a coat of paint on the front door. Those are the properties you want to see. Happy house hunting.